Music is crazy awesome. There's nothing like it out there in the world, in the sense that it is unlimited outlet of creative expression that connects with people regardless of their background, regardless of who they are, what they do. Like it crosses every boundary. I am so blessed and privileged to have had the childhood and the upbringing that I had, and so I have two incredible, loving, full-on supportive parents from the get-go. They were in the full-time ministry, doing a lot of things, just serving and loving and giving to others, and that definitely created the household environment that I grew up in. My childhood is definitely shaped by a very diverse community of people that was namely connected to my church that I grew up a part of. It was very ethnically diverse, very just socioeconomically diverse in so many ways, but it was just a really great family environment. And so I played a lot of sports growing up with my brother, and my parents were also very musical and very athletic. My dad was a professional track athlete, and he's a great singer. My mom's a great singer, and she played the violin and the piano and did sports as well. And so they're both kind of on both sides of like the creative and activity side. And so that kind of gave us a picture of like, oh wow, we can also do those things and have a lot of fun. And so they gave us just the open opportunity to explore our curiosities, which was really great. So if we had interest, hey, well, I want to try this sport or I want to try this thing, somehow they were tolerable enough to allow us to get in there. And then if we started complaining too much, they were like, okay, we'll stop that this time. But that's when so playing a lot of sports, and I picked up the cello in the fourth grade, and my brother played the bass, the classical bass, and my sister played the violin, and so we kind of had a trio of influences in the string instrument realm there. And then as a kid, you see like, oh, I really enjoy this, and then also I'm actually really good too, and so I end up being one of the standout athletes in school, middle school, and high school, and got a number of full scholarship offers to play Division I football at a number of universities around the U.S. And I knew that's something I wanted to take advantage of. And you put a lot of years in training and growing in that space, and like, yeah, I really want to keep it going. And it was a lot of fun. So I took a scholarship offer from Rice University, which is in Houston. So it was just a really fun and active undergraduate time in college for me. And so yeah, and the reason why I'm not playing now is because I wasn't good enough to play further. No, but yeah, I tried to play professionally. It's really competitive, obviously. I think there's always a reason that you go through certain things. There's always lessons to be learned from whatever experiences you take on, whether they're advantageous or disadvantageous to you, but it's all kind of based on your perspective on how you're going through the experiences. And so for me, I was like, well, I'm not guaranteed anything. I'm not entitled to anything, even if I feel like I give my all and work hard to it. So how can I really take on whatever's coming my way and realize that these next steps or this journey that's ahead is where I'm supposed to be. I jumped into just competing in just a bunch of fun different things after that, because I'm, as a competitor athlete, it's like I wanted to. There was now this big kind of pocket in my life that was devoted to athletics and competition that I still wanted to fill with something, and so I started competing like on obstacle course racing stuff. So if you've heard like those Spartan races or those mud races, so I've done a number of those, and then I got to compete on American Ninja Warrior, that one show, and then made my way to another cool show on Netflix called The Ultimate Beastmaster, which is another kind of competition reality show. I got some advice to make a profile on one of these kind of casting call websites, these talent kind of casting call sites, and I had a profile there with different things of me doing music stuff, kind of speaking roles, athlete, different things, just as you would if you're going to try to look for any kind of casting opportunities. And I actually really didn't do much on that profile outside of just set it up. And yeah, so it was just kind of sitting there. And then, I looked in my inbox on that profile one day, and I got a little message from a producer from ABC, and they're like, "Yeah, we have this show coming up. It's a music dating show. If you want to hear about it, let us know." And I was initially, this is probably one of the last shows I would envision myself being on, anything related to dating. But I was like, okay, let me just hear it out before I completely shut it down. As strange and different of an experience that is, I'm not afraid of putting myself out there in that kind of way and just being myself. And I love music. I love being around musicians. So it could be something cool, right? So all at the same time, my family was going through some tough times. From a health side, my brother, he was really going through really some difficult times in his mental health. And that was tough, and trying to find the ways to support him the right way and give him the feeling of comfort to access the resources he needed or whatever it was. But that was a really challenging journey. And now at the same time, my mom was battling cancer. When I was trying to make a decision on going on the show or not, my mom passes away. In my mind, why would God allow this to come in my life at this time? And I was like, okay, well, he's always brought things in my life with intention. He's also going to help me make me learn from it. So listen to your heart. It was a music spinoff show in the Bachelor TV universe. But the show concept is like, hey, you're in a house of basically like 20 musicians. And the intention is like, hey, you're here to meet each other, to mix and mingle, to create relationships. And the overall goal of it is to make a deep love kind of romantic connection with someone, and also create music with them and everyone else around you in different ways, right? Create music and stuff. And so, yeah, that's the premise of the show, and it was a really unique experience. I had a lot of fun and was grateful to be a part of it. The thing that really pushed me or propelled me to stepping into music from that experience was it had to do a lot with the relationships that I was around there, which was cool. Actually, that was actually when it was like the end of February. I made my first trip up to Nashville with, if you watch the show, Sheridan. He's one of my closest friends from the show. We took a little road trip up here from Austin, and yeah, that was when we hung out with a number of people that live here from the show. And this is my first time in the city, and it was really cool. And just like, oh wow, this is great. Did some music stuff while we were here, and it was like, okay. It was another thing of like, yeah, I really need to really continue just to focus and give my all to music. And that was just kind of that inflection point. And just as that happened, COVID creates havoc around the world, and everything is shut down. So as timely as it was, it all happened at the same time. And then quarantine, honestly, I was working from home and working virtually, and so that actually opened up a lot of time, creative space for me, as I was really shifting my life to giving and focusing on creating music more. It's taken some time for me to grow in my emotional honesty, and like knowing how to analyze, evaluate where I'm at emotionally, and then take that really, really scary step and sharing how I am doing emotionally to whomever that is. And I'm only getting better at it, but I've noticed that music has been very integral to me being able to process that emotions, and then get it out, like without fear, and knowing that it's gonna help me, and then it can also help others based on my honesty, right? Music has been that therapeutic tool to help me really grow in my vulnerability and my honesty, so that I can just grow in just like my emotional competency, like just maturing in that way. And man, that has everything to do with just you trying to live your best life and live become the best version of you that God has designed you to become. And everyone goes through some type of difficulties and trauma in life, and whether they're very, very visceral or very kind of internal or whatever it is, we all go through very challenging things. And it's easy to paint yourself, or to even look at yourself based on your mistakes, and to even look at yourself like, man, I just can't get it right, or I don't know where to go from here, or life is so difficult, and man, I guess that's just what it is. And there's nothing better beyond what challenges we have here. And this idea of of Rift and Rift, this is this initiative that I'm in the works of kind of creating and trying to find the best way to do it. But essentially, at the moment, it's just a series of just kind of inspired talks or just inspired kind of write-ups and things that I feel like I'm learning that I want just to share. And if people find value in it, that's great. The message being that you have the power to create the life that you desire, right? You have the power to, even at any given point, to make a collection of decisions over time that creates a rift from where maybe you didn't want to be to where you can be, right? And I think it has everything to do with really at first kind of identifying your worth and your intrinsic value, and then taking these steps of living in relationships, taking responsibility for your life and not being afraid to take risks, of every day giving myself the grace of knowing that I can recreate myself based on any given day that I have new life. I have breath in my lungs. I can make those steps to be a better person, to be a different person, to grow. It's very easy to get kind of comfortable and also trapped in a very singular mindset or very narrow view of the world, and a very captured by stereotypes of other people and other ways that people live. And I guess communicating more things about more people, experiences, and people get to learn from others, like, oh wow, this is, I always thought this about this kind of person, or I always thought this about this person specifically, but now that I know more about their story or know more about whatever they're doing, it expands my understanding of what they are, what could be. And I think it changes the way you can interact and engage with people and realize that everyone has something to offer you. The goal of the church is to be a representation of all nations, being unified under one cause that supersedes all ethnic boundaries and all racial kind of considerations or any other prejudices. Because, like, hey, we're all souls underneath this skin that we have, right? And that's the unifying thing, and we're all journeying together in this journey of the soul. We all kind of operate under different biases and stereotypes of others, and it's when I look at my life and I look at the perspective that a young, I'm a mixed race guy, but from just the look of me, just a young black American man. There are stereotypes tied into me and to the decisions, the things I should like, or what I should value, or how I should treat people. And I think it is on the responsibility of every given person to decide whether or not you want to reinforce those stereotypes or not, right? And unfortunately, there are stereotypes for a reason, because people can seemingly see so many examples of that type of action in one given community. So for me, I've always been like, I'm way more than that. And I've always been excited and eager to try to beat and exceed someone's expectations of who they think I should be or who they think I might be, right? And I think everyone should really try to channel that same kind of energy. And because we are great, everyone is greater than the stereotype. But it's always easier and more comfortable to try to play into that sometimes, right? So it's like, okay, be willing to be yourself and do more than what you feel like people expect of you to do, or what's comfortable or what's popular.